Welcome to But Her Lyrics, the show where we delve into the political lyrics of songs I like, songs I wrote, or topics that I think should be a song. I'm Shauna Potter, singer and lyricist for War on Women, and your host. And this is kind of a special episode. This episode highlights someone behind the scenes in the music world, someone that saw a problem with gender parity in festival lineups and thought, you know what, we can do better. So with hard data and easy to understand graphics, the Instagram account Book More Women was born. In my chat today with founder Abbey Carbonneau, we talk about how her frustration as a music fan turned into a viral Instagram account and how that's now transitioning into a nonprofit that can help provide resources and tools for those willing to change the status quo by, booking more women. Yeah, seems like a no-brainer. But anyway, real quick, Patreon! If you've been listening for a while, you know that the best way to support me and my work, whether it's my punk band War on Women or as an intimacy coordinator, is just sign up for my Patreon at patreon.com/Shauna Potter. Right now, I have a patron-exclusive chat with a UK-based researcher on how punk scenes create safer spaces. And there's some interesting findings in there, at least to me. But also, I always have some cool behind-the-scenes stuff. Recently, some behind-the-scene pics from the last War on Women tour, bonus podcast moments, all kinds of stuff. And you can make requests. I do have a busy summer coming up with film projects and touring, and War on Women's going back to Europe in August, and we're playing Fest this October again. And we have a new album out called Time Under Tension, out now on Smart Punk Records. So it's kind of a big old Shauna summer. I'm super excited to share some of that with you on Patreon. So sign up, make your requests, and let's have a good year, you guys. Okay? Let's have a good year. Can we agree to that? All right, great. But enough about me. Interview time! Okay. Abbey Carbonneau, thank you so much for joining me on But Her Lyrics. Please introduce yourself to everyone.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So happy to be here talking with you. And so my name is Abbey Carbonneau. I'm the founder and executive director of Book More Women, which started as a solo social media project, essentially, to raise awareness of the gender disparity specifically at music festivals through visuals and data, and is now, as of last year, a full organization. And yeah, we're currently a fiscally sponsored organization, project of Fractured Atlas, as we pursue our own 501c3 status. And our mission is continuing on from that foundation that we've built, and then expanding really to just challenge the status quo as it is in music industry and elevate underrepresented voices and change the system.
No big deal.
Yeah. It's really, the mission is really big. The vision's really big, but we have a really passionate team. And, just for myself, I started as a fan, just started this, like I said, as a social media thing, literally as a fan, because I was disappointed by a festival lineup, got in an argument about it online, and was like, what if I just start chugging these edited posters out and show that it's not just one festival, not just one genre, not just one, company.
We'll get more into that.
To your question.
Yeah, I know. You're giving me like the elevator pitch of your org. I'm already in. I've already bought in. I'm asking about you. Abbey, let's take a step back. Abbey, why don't you tell me about your relationship to music? When did you get into it? What kind of music do you like? Have you ever played yourself? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so if we really go back, the first sort of the first moment that I have in my mind of really being present of the music that's happening was driving with my family. And, I have two older sisters who are 7 and 9 years older than me. So their tastes obviously were, much different and sort of influenced me. And hearing Waterfalls by TLC, it was something that really sticks out in my
That's
head
great.
in this drive, and it was probably on a cassette, and they were probably playing it over and over. But that's like one of these like foundational. Honestly, when I look back, I think that probably, like I said, like that they're them being older sort of shifted my musical influence and really from as a kid, I wasn't super like interested. It was mostly just like listening with my to like oldies radio with my parents in the car. And I think maybe that also was like a big thing, like just Fleetwood Mac and Bruce Springsteen and like Stevie Wonder, just Carole King, ABBA, like, and then eventually, I found my way through like NSYNC, and then like as I was a preteen, it was like started like where I first, was like really like, okay, I like, it's always like what your friends are listening to and whatever,
Sure.
but it was like Simple Plan and Yellow Card, and then I finally made my way to Paramore, which I think was a huge moment, right, for me, and that was in 2005. I went with my friends to see Simple Plan, and Paramore was like the first opener of four bands. And like looking back, that had to be a huge moment just to like see, you know, Haley Williams, who was only a couple years older than me at the,
Right.
and up on that stage, and with, bands that I had already, sort of made into these big, almost semi-heroes. And yeah, just from there, eventually found my way to like sort of my home, my comfort zone in like Americana, and um, so that's where I mostly live. But Bookworm Woman has actually been really awesome to like branch out and listen to other stuff. It's been like a huge thing for me. But I did sort of teach myself guitar as like during high school and college, but um, never actually had any professional um, role in music, really.
Hmm.
Went to school for biology and then ended up working in chemistry for about 10 years and sort of just dug a little back hole into the music industry. And,
Yeah, so
it's always
you
been something I've
feel,
really cared about, but
yeah, so you feel more like a fan, an
yeah,
audience
yeah.
member, an enjoyer of music. And so tell me about this moment where like you just got so pissed off and thought, well, here's something I can do about it.
That's exactly like how I thought about it too. Is like here's something that maybe I can do about it. It was I had gone to a festival with my sister the year before, and the lineup had been announced for that following year, and I was like, yeah, this isn't for me, which is fine.
Yeah.
But then I sort of realized that why it wasn't for me. And you had to count 21 artists down to get to the second woman. So SZA was sort of in the mix in there. This was in 2018. You had to count down 21 artists to get to the second woman on this lineup. And that's when I sort of just pointed it out on their like lineup announce on Twitter. And I was like, just pointed out the numbers and just said, do better. That's all I said. And the onslaught of just comments from fans of the festival, presumably, I think was most of it. It just being the large the most like the most common response was like, who cares, or it doesn't matter, like
Yeah.
but then there were a few that were a little honestly weirdly violent and disturbing, and then there was like a couple that really wanted to like get in the weeds, and that's sort of where I started like having the conversation with these people, and I'm like eventually do the thing where I erase the men on the poster. I'm like does this help you like sort of
Right.
see how bad this is? And I didn't invent the concept, right? I think the year before there had been a really viral one with Reading and Leeds festivals, and that was like a big moment in the UK, I think. And so I didn't like invent the concept, but my thought after that argument was like, maybe, I have this, general just being a millennial social media online savvy, and I can do basic Photoshop, or
Hmm.
and maybe just putting these posters out over and over again, and like I had said, just showing that it's not one genre, it's not one festival, it's not one
Yeah.
company, and it's not one region. It's really widespread, and Yeah, just took the sort of the passion that I had, where honestly it was a little like, for my doing it for myself. Like I want to see these artists that I listen to on festivals, and then yeah, so just like bringing that passion as a fan with these little things that I had and the idea that I had, and just kept going. Mm.
So it makes sense to me that, a lot of people would comment like, who cares? Get out of here. And people would be pissed. And so I'm wondering what, as you've been doing this over the years, what have been some of the most surprising responses from festivals themselves, bands, audience members? Like what do you not expect, good or bad, from doing this over and over again?
I think what has stuck out to me the most, or maybe it's just been what I've been trying to hold on to the most, is how artists have responded to this and said specifically that it's given them sort of a tool to use, that it's been their experience their entire career, but they haven't been able to really have the number and having the numbers and having the visual behind it and being able to actually use that to show their experience, that they've been fighting against all this stuff for so long.
Yeah.
And have that as a tool has been really probably what's kept me going the most. Yeah, just knowing, like I said, as starting as a fan, a little, always wanted to make sure that I'm really, you can have unintended consequences, right? You can have,
sure,
if good intentions, but not necessarily desired outcomes. And so getting the response from artists being like, it's like being so supportive, has been probably what's kept me going the most. And the response from, the industry, from festivals, has been, mixed at times, but I think over time has shifted a lot more. And I think the most common thing from, organizers, talent buyers, that kind of thing, has been like, well, it's not that simple, which, I know, and I think a lot of people know. Maybe, maybe the general music audience doesn't know, and that's fair. But so I think, I've gotten a lot over the years, and maybe less so the last few years, but of like, well, we tried to get this artist and this artist and this artist, but, they weren't available, they weren't touring, they were, it didn't fit in the budget. And, I think part of where we are now is we want to really flesh this all out, and let's explain it from that side. Let's look into every single one of these things. Okay. They weren't available. Yeah, that's fair. If you're a rock festival, there's really, truly not a lot of options, to be your headliner who's not a, cis straight white male, honestly.
Yeah.
That's fair and understandable, but it's like, okay, you're part of this system and you are sort of at the end of it, right? There's so many decisions that are made up to this point to sort of narrow your options in some cases, but what you still have some power to make those headliners, fill that undercard. And so I think digging into each one of these issues is something that we really want to do now as we're expanding this beyond just the festival posters and digging
beyond
into
just awareness.
Yeah, exactly. And that's sort of what we've been, in February, we publicly relaunched as an organization from, like I said, just sort of a solo project. And so that's been sort of one of our calling cards, if you will, just going from awareness to action and taking the data that we have. We've got all this years of festival, gender representation data, hard numbers, and being able to take those and really put it to work. And how do we work within this, within the industry?
Mm-hmm.
So we're partnering with festivals, for example, to, be, sort of hold themselves accountable, help them hold themselves accountable, and then outside of the industry as well. And if they're not going to, collaborate with us and work on these things themselves, then how can we still apply that pressure and change the system from the outside?
I definitely identify with this, with my experience as an activist and organizer in the 2010s doing like anti-street harassment work and like starting like by just raising awareness and pissing people off by mentioning that it existed and it sucked and no one liked dealing with it. And, you know, I was lucky to be part of this huge worldwide wave of people that were like, we're fucking tired of dealing with street harassment. It's still harassment. But pretty quickly it moved into well-meaning people saying, okay, yeah, it's bad. What do we do about it? Like, just tell me what to do. Like, wanting to go from awareness to action, right? And then that's when I came up with the Safer Spaces program, and I started training people, wrote a book, and whatever. Because I feel like for the most part, people do not want to have bad intentions. They don't want to do bad stuff. They just want to do what's easy.
Yeah. Right.
And life is also complicated. Sometimes the band you want just isn't fucking available for whatever reason. Like, I get it. So I have sympathy for the people that work at festivals, like understanding how many ins and outs there are. I don't understand. I don't understand. I have a general idea of the concept and it sounds terrible and more power to you.
Absolutely.
It couldn't be me. But it's like awareness is step one.
Right.
And then it's, I admire your going to the next step of like, okay, here, let me help you. Because I think a lot of people online stop at awareness, and it's not even often awareness with any kind of kindness to it.
Yeah.
It's just the fuck you do better. And then like, cool, I'd love to. Is there anyone that can help? No, just do it. You know? So yeah, what are your, I'm sure that this project is a labor of love. How long did it take before you thought, I think this is actually making a difference. I should keep going. Or this could make more of a difference if only we XYZ, became an org, did more. Like, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think there's been a few moments for both of those things. You know, like I said, I started this in 2018, early, February into March. So it's been more than 8 years now. And one of the sort of first moments was, I had some artists that I had really admired sort of just grab onto it really quickly and find it. Margot Price, for example, who I'd listened to, for a long time. And artists just commenting and being like, tagging other people and be like, hey, check this out.
I feel like I must have found it with War on Women immediately. I feel like I came up in my algorithm and I was like, fuck yes. Like, I feel like I've been with you.
It found the right people really quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was really organic. I never, I was doing this in my side in my spare time, working full time and then doing this in my spare time, making no money for 6-7 years. Heard that. So yeah, it's just getting these artists to find it. And then there was, a moment that, a few months in, I guess it was probably July 2018, where Brandi Carlile had announced her all women headline festival in Mexico. And she actually reached out and DM'd me first. And I had listened to Brandi for several years at that point. And obviously was already a very like, this was sort of pre like Grammy blow up, but still like a very, respected and known figure. And she DM'd me first and I was like, what? Like, and just said like, love this, keep going, essentially. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess now I have to keep going. That was sort of one of the first moments. And then, I think over time, there's been a lot of like, you can look back and see there were like years where there was like a year or so where I didn't really post at all. And it was, sort of depending on my job and just not feeling motivated by it. But, stuff always would happen that just brought me back. And I'm super grateful for that. And then I was laid off from my, quote unquote, real job in late 2023. And that's when I was like, all right, I've got, nearly 20,000 followers at that point, and they're all very engaged. artists, industry people, especially like on like, the beginning side of this. And then fans, festival fans, really, just engaged people that cared about this issue. And I'm like, at that point, I'm like, I don't honestly, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I don't have a huge entrepreneurial spirit.
It can feel icky sometimes. You feel like a salesman.
Yeah. And I did have to get, I at that point I was like, I don't want to go search for a job. I don't want to go search for a real job and do that whole thing. I don't want to wake up in the morning and drive places anymore. And I'm like, I have this thing, I care about it. Let me see what else I can do, because I know that it has got to the point where it was in, had an interview with Rolling Stone and, Boston Globe, and, it was being mentioned by huge artists. I think at that point, Casey Musgraves was probably one of the biggest artists. Maybe Shania Twain has followed the account. I think that was more reason, but, it just these like decision point of like, I'm gonna go all in. And, I was like, I think that this can be more, and like we talked about, like going from the awareness to the action, and so I just started talking with as many people I could talk to from all over the industry. And I'm not a big networker. I do not like doing this, but I just kept jumping from person, like, whoever they mentioned, I was like, okay, like, let me talk to them, and, talk to artists and everybody, and just sort of built this up to where it is now. And last year I spent, a lot of the time just learning how this could be a nonprofit, and how, how we can work towards that, how we can actually, put, systems I've done so much of this, like systems thinking, and really diving into these, like, feedback loops, and, how to use points of leverage in a system. And
you're already losing me. Yeah.
Yeah. The music industry is so complex, which I'm sure that is understandable, but like, it's like, where can you intervene? Where are the best points, the most valuable, but as you said, the most, like, the easiest points,
so that people actually do it.
Yeah, if we put this thing in this little point right here, this decision point, that could, like, what can make the biggest impact, and just really digging into all that, and that's sort of how, and then combining that with talking to artists who are working artists, who are have a day job or multiple jobs, have children, and like, what specifically asking a few questions of, like, what is right now is the biggest roadblock for you getting to your goals, your personal goals in music? What in the past has been the most helpful for you overcoming, these similar roadblocks to reach your own personal goals in music? And I said 3, but that was basically just the 2. And just like, like what would most help you right now? And because we want to really make sure that we are doing, again, like that unintended, good intention, but unintended consequence thing, and trying to make sure that we're really, like, staying on the ground. I hate using the term ground, but I don't know a better one. I have not figured out a better one, but we want to be on the ground level, like, on boots on the ground, as they say. Really,
listeners, if you have a better term that doesn't feel like,
please let me know.
Synergy and fucking our, like, I don't want end of day meetings and quarter 3 and like, give us a term we can use. Okay. Yeah.
And at the same time, not being like, oh, you're on the ground level because you're an artist working, a job. Like, that's not, like, that's where I feel like that's not what I mean. But I feel like a lot of these organizations feel, to me, out of reach, and I'm, I've always just been a fan. I have worked my whole life. I don't know, middle class. I live in, northern Massachusetts. I don't know if that sort of helps frame it, but, I don't, a lot of these things feel out of reach, like big, corporate sponsors and galas. Like, that's not our vibe. Like, we really want to be, like, in tune with, like, what will really help? And I know I'm getting a little off topic. I think I'm trying to get around back to the point here. And combining that like systemic change thought of like, where do we best intervene? How can we best apply what we have?
Yeah.
And also keep that artist perspective, that into like, you know, young people getting into the industry, you know, whether it's on the artist or the industry side. And again, to sort of take another off topic thing, but like the fact that we have to call it the industry, right? Like the fact that it even is a music industry.
It's a business, yeah.
I wish that we could tear that all down, but you know, I figure let's, you know, anything we can do to make improvements on where it is now, you know?
Yeah. And I like diverse tactics. So
Yeah.
sometimes you got to work within the system. Sometimes you work without it. That's fine. But I'm wondering if there's anything, you know, you becoming an official nonprofit that's fairly new in your history. So is there anything you are able to share right now about, like, what are you going to do? Where are those points where you can make an improvement, where you can help people do something easy? Like, is there any programs or anything right now that you can share with us about like what's coming or what's happening that's not just posted online?
Yeah.
Although that was extremely valuable. I don't mean to say it like that.
Yeah.
It's been extremely valuable and like really, really cool. You're so right. To see the visuals, to see the numbers, like that really, really matters and makes a difference to people. But what else is coming?
Yeah. Yeah. And sort of, I'll start with that point. And like, you know, we can see these numbers over time, you know, since I've been doing this since 2018, and we do see them increase. And then it sort of hit a plateau in 22, 23, 24. And then last year it actually decreased a bit, which was, you know, trying to figure that out and all the various factors. But that plateau, to me, I've been thinking about this so much. And I think it was like, okay, people are becoming more aware, and obviously there's these big cycles of like DEI is in, DEI is out, and maybe that's probably a bigger factor. But like, you know, people are becoming aware of this issue, so I think that maybe the increase was sort of this really the easiest stuff, the bottom, like bare minimum stuff that they started implementing, you know, on the festival side. And then you sort of hit this wall, and where that wall sort of was about 40%. And I'm talking mostly about these big festivals, Bonnaroo, Lollapalooza, Coachella, etc. 40% of the acts on the lineup have at least one woman or non-binary member. So it's honestly not a hard thing. We're not talking everybody on stage, all the band members. The numbers drop way down when you look at that. And it sort of hit this plateau, right? And I think that was like sort of, to me, I'm like, not to like overinflate, you know, the effect that I think Book More Women has had. Honestly, I don't think it can, you know, it was the main factor here, but it sort of did increase from, you know, 30 to 40% over those few years, and then it just flattened out.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that was sort of the bare minimum. Like, and so to me, I'm like, okay, that was sort of like awareness, right? Yeah. And now it's like, you have to put in a little bit more work. So,
so it's the maintenance that seems difficult. Maybe.
Yeah. I think.
Have you heard anything from? I'm interrupting you, but have you heard anything from the festivals themselves about that being difficult, or are they not really communicating to you?
So yeah, I guess to get back to like what we're doing now, I'll just introduce this program because it sort of will go back to that. So, sort of the main thing. First, I do want to preface with, we are currently, Book More Women is a fiscally sponsored project of Fractured Atlas, who is an art service organization, nonprofit 501c3. We, as Book More Women, are not a nonprofit individually. We are pursuing our own 501c3.
Sure. Semantics. Yes.
I do need to like make that clear.
Sure. But, yeah. I'm very familiar with a fiscal sponsorship, but it's like, yes, you're a nonprofit.
Yeah. So back to this program is called Booked, and essentially, we are, you know, we're going to post these posters regardless, and we're going to post the numbers regardless. And so the point of this was to invite the festival in on it and say, you know, here's your numbers, and we can dig in and provide you more of your past numbers. And, you know, work with us to use our data and our platform to set a meaningful but reasonable number for next year that you're going to hit based on our metrics and how we count things for gender diversity on your stages. And then this basically culminates in a post where instead of just the poster, we post their pledge, and we post the edited poster, the regular poster, as we always do, and then highlight an artist from the festival that sort of allows us to do sort of an immediate uplift to a
woman in
like an independent artist on the other card. So and the idea with booked, and the reason for the name is we started a little late in the season, but the idea is to actually, instead of the spotlight artist, the idea is to book an artist where Book More Women will hold an open application submission process, and then we will vet artists, independent artists, and get a slot from the festival that we're working with, and sort of give them a short list. And we're in essentially given independent artist who doesn't have this whole machine behind them a chance for this opportunity.
So it's like an assessment consultation with the festival, but then also like maybe you get a Book More Women slot that you can help the festival fill with.
And that's
okay.
And that's sort of the,
to be like, here's some people not on your radar.
Yeah, exactly. And to give these artists, like I said, a chance that it's so hard, especially the bigger the festival gets. You look at Coachella. I mean, you can't get a slot at Coachella if you're not in a major agency. Yeah. You need the label, the manager, you need the whole machine. And for artists who don't have the access to that, who aren't in these networks yet, it's so hard to just break in, like you said. Hoping to give that opportunity, and that that one opportunity for that stage could I think we've seen it over the years. I don't know, Chapel Road is one that comes to mind, where this festival appearance sort of just explodes, right? And not to say that was certainly a big case, but just the opportunity for the exposure to a new audience, and then working with the festival and our own socials, digging in with this artist, doing interviews, sharing their experience at the festival, and just hoping to do the sort of artist side of it and the industry side of it all in one.
Okay, so we have booked. Is there anything else that Book More Women is doing?
Yeah, so we've got a couple things coming. First, our podcast that we're planning called Measured, and there's an introductory episode. It's essentially an interview with me, but talking about really digging in, like I had mentioned before, digging into all of these. Yeah. Roadblocks, points of decision making, and like what goes into the decisions, what influences them, what are the difficulties from both sides. Season 1 will be focused specifically on music festivals, essentially taken from the beginning to how do we get to that poster.
Yeah.
and looking at it from every side, and really sort of informing our future programs, I think, is part of this, to really dig in, have the conversations, bring in the data, and then also have conversations with the people who are doing this day to day, and uncover those leverage points like we talked about, to really see
what's
for
possible.
Example, for example, like the festivals will get sent lists from agencies, right? And like who's touring, who they're pushing right now. And it's like, okay, well, who are the agencies signing? Who are they sending over? Who's on these lists? Who are the agents, right? And then you go back to the, labels, everything. Like, there's just like so much to dig into. And I think like the point of the podcast is to really get into the weeds on these things, and on the way really learn ourselves, and then invite everybody else in on it.
That seems really valuable.
How we can change things.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, Rosie. Hey, listeners. Rosie, Stop borking. Stop huffing and puffing. Hey listeners, just had to stop here to let you know that there will be a Patreon exclusive bonus moment from this interview where I talk to Abbey about how she actually creates these posters that show the gender disparity without using AI. I thought it was interesting. I still think I sort of understand it. I'm not really sure. Anyway, head to my Patreon, sign up there, listen to bonus moments, and here's the rest of the interview. Is there anything, I don't know how many interviews you've done for Book More Women, but like, is there anything, like any myths you want to dispel or anything you're tired of answering or getting asked or anything I didn't ask that you wish I did?
Well, yeah, honestly, I have not done that much, and that is largely because I, as a person, am so introverted. So I'm really like just getting used to putting myself out there. And honestly, this, during this relaunch and we did a crowdfunding, our first ever crowdfunding campaign in March. That was sort of the first time that I really attached my face with Book More Women, and so it's been a journey for me. And we have this, I think, maybe if there's anything, well, maybe two quick things. First, we talked about the graphic portion of it, but the research that we put into actually getting all of the artists' identities right and true to the person is, we don't use AI, we don't data scrape. We do this all by hand, and for the first 7 years or so, it was entirely me. And then I now have some volunteers that help out, and they're awesome. And but yeah, we do this all by hand, individually, every art, like one artist at a time. And now that we're actually doing the numbers with each individual member of a band, it's really time consuming, but we do our best to get it right, to the point of even DMing the band or reaching out to management or whoever, just to make sure that we're not, getting these things wrong. And it feels weird for sure at times to be like putting everybody into these three buckets, right? And the reason why we did start digging in was so we could actually pull out the non-binary, like people as to get that percentage, because it's so often non-binary is just lumped in with women, right? So like I was like at the point where I was like, I think we can dig in and do this individually. So let's do this to get this actual number.
The numbers help, awareness helps, and like you gotta like follow the numbers. So like doing that, like for example, we did our book partnership. We have a few, maybe 5 festivals announced now, and we did this with Tree Fort in Boise, and they're awesome. The one we just played. People. Warren Women just played there, like a few months ago.
Yeah, cool. And one of our director of operations, Jess, was there, and it's just like a great, awesome community, really focused thing. And so anyway, that lineup took us probably about 50 people hours to research, to complete. Wow. So that was like the idea that I was trying to bring up. Like we are really careful about this, and it's really important to me to get these things right, and we don't make assumptions to like great extent. So there's that. And just the other part, just being that team like behind us. We have this very small team, and to be completely honest, I just got paid from Book More Women for the first time I do this full time now. Yeah. And with the fundraising, this initial fiscal sponsorship fundraising has allowed me to actually, get a little bit that will help me continue to do this full time. And then everybody else has been volunteering their time. And it's been so just so awesome getting these people on board, like that are passionate, and just everybody has reached out to me that is part of this. It hasn't been like I've had to go searching. And we have this board of directors, which is pretty much all working artists, like I had mentioned. And just it's been really great to have, this start building a team behind this. And I'm really excited to, keep working with them and see really what we can do.
Amazing. Well, where can people find you in order to learn more and support you?
Yeah, so our bookmorewomen.com will have the links to everything. You can donate via Fractured Atlas. The links are on the website. That's tax deductible. And you can find all the posters and everything on our Instagram. That's at Book More Women. We're also a few other places, so you can find those all on there, LinkedIn, Substack, and then that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Well, Abbey Carbonneau, thank you so much for joining me on But Her Lyrics.
Yeah, it's been so great to talk to you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Abbey, for your time. I'm so excited to see where Book More Women goes from here. And I'm even more excited to hopefully be collaborating on some trainings or something else cool in the future. You can support this podcast by liking my YouTube channel and sharing, subscribing, and reviewing But Her Lyrics wherever you get your podcasts. It's free and it helps. To find episode transcripts or to find out more about what I do, my book, my trainings, my Patreon, head to shawnapotter.com. To learn about all things War on Women, we do have shows coming up in July and August, and a new album called Time Under Tension. You can get all the deets at our linktree, which is linktr.ee/waronwomen. And if you want to support my work, or anyone that might deal with harassment in public spaces, now is a great time to get the Safer Spaces online course, which you can preview or sign up for at shawnapotter.com. So head there now. Let's make this summer safer for everyone. And thanks for listening.